So yeah, just to really quickly talk a little bit about the network again. So the Decarbonising Leisure Transport Network, we're all about kind of sharing good knowledge and good practice at destinations and developing sustainable leisure travel, seeking out ways to promote alternatives to the private car and enhance the visitor experience, and also to share where there's gaps in knowledge and support the net zero initiatives. And in that spirit, we have a excellent presentation today. I encourage people to think of questions as well, because we'll have quite a bit of time at the end to do that. I'll let them introduce themselves in more depth, but we have Garry Shipp and Arne Mannion from Community Rail Network, and also Steve Booth from Purbeck Community Rail as well. And I'm going to now hand over to them.
Thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen. So I'm going to kick us off this morning. So hopefully you can all see that. So hi everyone. My name is Arne Mannion and I'm the Campaigns and Leisure Promotions Coordinator at Community Rail Network. And today I'm joined by my colleague Garry, who is our Project Development Manager, also at Community Rail Network. And we're also joined by Steve Booth, who is the Community Rail Officer at Purbeck Community Rail Partnership. So just to run through our plan of action for this morning. So I'm just going to give an overview of Community Rail, what we do at Community Rail Network, and just touch on some of the tourism work that we do at Community Rail Network and how we support our members within Community Rail to do their own tourism work. And then I'll be followed by Garry, who's going to go into more details about integrated transport and give some more in-depth details about specific projects. And then Steve's going to follow on from Garry, just sharing details of the initiative that they've been working on around integrated travel and their lovely green bus that they've got. So that's kind of just the plan for this morning. So I just wanted to start off by just going into a little bit of detail about what Community Rail actually is. So it's a grassroots movement. It connects local people with their railways, and it's made up of 75 community rail partnerships and over 1,300 station volunteer groups, and that's right across England, Scotland and Wales, and they help to bring stations and services to life through various initiatives and projects that they deliver, working closely with the local communities and partners as well. So Community Rail really helps to bridge that gap between the train operators who are running the services and Network Rail who are looking after like the infrastructure, and then the actual communities, the local people, and Community Rail helps the railways kind of become more inclusive and a bit more responsive to the needs of communities in that area. So they work on a range of different initiatives on local and regional level, and it can vary from education and rail safety, biodiversity and environment. There's initiatives around tackling loneliness and promoting inclusion and diversity, and also encouraging greener, sustainable travel and supporting that integrated travel initiatives for visitors to help, complete their final mile. And there's lots more examples on our website of various different initiatives, which Garry is going to talk about a little bit more shortly. So us at Community Rail Network, so we're the national membership body, and we support community rail partnerships, station friends groups and other local groups right across Britain. So we're kind of like that umbrella organisation, and we provide guidance, training. We champion the work of community rail groups, as well as helping the local groups connect with rail industry, but also non-rail sectors as well, helping them reach out to visitor audiences. We, facilitate them. We've got grant schemes for our members, and we also make sure that they're connecting with each other and sharing good practice within that kind of commuter rail space. So we also champion the movement nationally, and a lot of that work is done from our team in the comms and policy. So we host Community Rail Week every year, which our 5th one we held just 3 weeks ago in May, and that's a national like raising awareness campaign that we hold every year, and that helps us to really shout about the amazing work that goes on throughout the year. And we also help to influence policy around sustainable and community focused transport, and some of the campaigns that we do also help feed into that as well and get those conversations started. So really, in essence, we're kind of like the backbone that supports that local energy, the passion, the dedication of community rail partnerships and the local volunteers, and that innovation that happens right across the community rail. We kind of bring that all in together and really showcase the work that goes on throughout the year. So one of the really exciting areas that we work in is tourism and leisure travel by rail. So this is more my background, my passion. So I work closely with various community rail groups across the country where needed, to support them in different ways to promote their own tourism offer, as well as encouraging that partnership, working with local attractions, national landscapes, national parks, other tourism businesses and organisations, all with that kind of common goal of more people travelling by train and raising the awareness of community rail at the same time. So community rail itself has kind of got that natural synergy with tourism, so helping people access the lesser known destinations in more sustainable ways, using that local knowledge that community rail has. So many of our members have produced tourism-based initiatives and projects. Some include rail to trails, there's audio guides, there's line guides, tourism websites. Some are also working on improving the overall visitor experience when you're at a station, so looking at signage, looking at accessibility needs, and there's lots more great examples of where this work's happened and been really successful. Part of my role is I chair the Community Rail Tourism Network Group, which is a place for community rail groups to come together and showcase their work in the tourism and leisure sector. For example, our most recent session just a couple of weeks ago, we heard from Arne Valley Line, how they've commissioned a series of videos and podcasts to promote their line. And a couple of times a year, we like to meet up in person, and we go out and explore a specific community rail route. And that just provides the chance for us to experience some of the work that we hear about in our tourism network sessions, and we get to see it firsthand, which is a really good way of how we share best practice and connect with community rail groups. We also invite guest speakers as well to share their insights and to give that wider picture of the tourism landscape and any opportunities that brings to kind of work together with community rail. So that always tends to work out really well. And this year we're in the first year of our first ever tourism and leisure strategy, and that aims to focus in our area, our work in this area, and give community rail members a bit of a better structure for support, and it looks at how we can better work with tourism organisations and support their sustainability goals and raise awareness of community rail through joint initiatives and solutions. So this is something that's quite new to us, to have that really specific focus on tourism and leisure. A part of that strategy as well is an enhanced campaigns programme, so featuring 4 different tourism and leisure campaigns throughout the year. Each one of those is driven by local insights and knowledge from commuter rail members, and it's all about encouraging visitors to take the train, to explore more of Britain by train, reducing that car dependency, supporting local economies, but then also supporting those who don't have access to a car as well. So these campaigns are hosted through our Scenic Rail Britain website and our social media channels, and that's a constant platform for community rail to amplify their tourism and leisure initiatives and to promote their work to a wider audience than may be possible through their own smaller channels. It features the majority of community rail lines on Scenic Rail Britain, and it is aimed at a tourism audience, which is a little bit different from our community rail website that's very much aimed at industry and people who are interested about learning more about commuter rail. This is specifically for aimed at visitors and that tourism audience. So the Scenic Rail Britain website and social media plays a really key role in raising that awareness of community rail and the work of volunteer groups, again using their insights and local knowledge to highlight and showcase some of those quieter and crowd-free routes and things to see and do. So it's almost like you're getting a locals insight guide to the line and things to see and do that people might not necessarily know about. So this slide just shows some of the content that we push out through our socials on a daily basis, and just kind of seeing that kind of like the colourful things that we get to showcase on, and all promoting community rail lines as well. So I'll just stop sharing. So that's kind of just gives you a little bit of background about community rail and how we're working in the tourism and leisure industry at the minute. And if you can just hold any questions that you might have just to the end of all 3 of our presentations, that'd be great. And then Garry, Steve and I will have a dedicated Q&A session with all 3 of us afterwards. So without further ado, I will pass over to Garry.
Thanks, Alice. Thanks for that introduction. And yeah, it's my turn to sort of say a little bit more about community rail's work specifically around integrated transport and first and last mile and the work that our members have been doing in this space. So I've got lots of examples of different work that's going to be happening, and then Steve's going to follow me with a specific example of some of the work that's been going on down in Purbeck. So to begin with, I just wanted to say a little bit about where this role came from. I've been with Community Rail Network now for 2 years, just coming up to, and initially the role was funded through the Department for Transport to allow us to do some specific work to support our members about integrated transport, not just for sort of the benefit for tourism in the area, but also just to help connect locals with the rail lines and open up all the opportunities that could provide to them in terms of accessing education, employment, training, services, health, etc. So that funding ended around about a year ago, and then subsequent since then the Foundation for Integrated Transport have been supporting our work, which their funding ends at the end of this month as well. But we're going to be continuing to do this, but we've got lots of things up and running, and I just wanted to introduce my talk by saying a little bit about some of our work to begin with. So at the moment we've established a really well attended integrated sustainable transport discussion group, which meets sort of round about once every 3 months. Generally, we will invite a guest speaker or two external to the organisation, and then one of our members will also present about some of the work that they've been doing. This opportunity is only open to our members as part of their sort of membership support package, but I would be interested in if anyone in the audience would like to attend to talk about some work that's happening locally in the area that they operate, because I think that'd be really interesting for our members to hear about as well. So that's an open invite. If you have something you think would be nice to put in front of our members, then please, do get in touch with me if you could. And the side there is we had Nat from Good Journey speaking at our last meeting just last week, a little bit about Good Journey, the work they do, and how our members might connect with that work locally. Also on our website, we've started to sort of can, bottle and present previous webinars that we've run. So you can see there's just a little taster of some of the events that have gone on previously, not just related to integrated transport, but more generally as well. But I just wanted to flag, we got a really useful webinar that we ran about working with your local bus company to develop links between rail and bus, and that is openly accessible, so you're more than welcome to go and have a visit of that. We had a couple of industry experts presenting about work that's been ongoing around the country in developing those links with local bus operators as well, so that might be interesting. And similarly, getting involved with your local cycle and walking infrastructure plan. We had some guest speakers from Active Travel England and Sustrans speaking about how locally you might be able to influence the LC WIP, particularly when it's getting refreshed in your area as well. So a little heads up about those opportunities available to you. We also have a number of resources Alice has alluded to already on our website, but we do have one specifically that I wanted to flag that we've developed thanks to the funding through the Foundation for Integrated Transport, which is our quick start guide for community groups. That's easy accessible through our reports and research link on our website. There's a little intro video that you can see our screen grab down there just to set the context for it, and that's something that you're welcome to take away, have a look at, and see how that might sort of might help influence and support some of your ideas about delivering work locally as well. So please feel free to access that. And also I wanted to just flag up an organisation that sometimes goes below the radar, which is the Sustainable Transport Alliance, of which Community Rail Network is a member, but you'll also see the other organisations active within the area who are partnering with us in the alliance as well. So ostensibly that looks like some sort of behind the work conversations and campaigning and influencing that group does together as a voice, but also on the ground it means we're able to tap into those local organisation networks such as Sustrans Living Streets and get our members working with them locally for projects that might support our mutual aims as well. So just to flag that, and if you don't know anything about the organisation, have a little Google and you'll be able to find out a little bit more. So onto the work we've done, and I just sort of wanted to float this idea first of all that our approach and what we say to our members is to consider good transport integration to be a puzzle. The puzzle, I mean, you can take this analogy a number of ways, but essentially no two places are the same. Like a puzzle, pictures vary. So in a local context, in terms of trying to improve the integration between different sustainable transport modes, you've really got to understand what your local picture looks like. You need to work out who you've got available to help you to put that picture together, and you've not got to get distracted by the really easy corner and side bits. You really need to also focus on the more challenging parts of the picture, the clouds, the sky, those tricky bits in the puzzle that we all leave to the last minute. That analogy stretches to integrated transport when you often see projects that highlight the obvious fixes but don't really deal with the more challenging problems as well. And we think good integration needs to look at that complete picture and get a team of people together to finish that picture together so that integration is the best as it can be in that local context as well. So within community rail partnerships, and Alice alluded to this earlier on, they're all kind of individual and different. The model doesn't have to be identical for each particular area, but generally, as a rule of thumb, community rail partnerships will involve local authorities and one or more train operating companies, but also passenger representative groups, third sector organisation, can be parish councils, other transport providers, large employers, representatives from disability and other groups, local businesses, and also potentially education providers as well. And that's just some of the examples of some of the groups that are involved in community rail partnerships. And you could add local tourist destinations and larger organisations such as AONABs, etc., to that mix as well. We find that the community rail partnerships that are best networked have the best resources they can call on and a larger amount of voices that can help to shape their work as well. So we encourage, if you're not already in contact with your local community rail partnership, please do, because I think they will welcome conversation with you. So in terms of some of the work that our members are doing, I'm just going to sort of put in front of you some of the ideas. These aren't all encompassing. It's just a few little ideas that I've gleaned from some of the partnerships around the country and some of the different approaches they're taken. So here's just a little snapshot from Community Rail Cumbria on their website, where they've had some specific pages that are highlighting some of the opportunities along one of their lines for tourism destinations in the area that you can visit easily from the rail line in that area. So again, if you're wanting to increase your reach and take opportunity for that publicity, then just get in touch with your local rail partnership, and I'm sure they'd be happy to find somewhere on their website that they can reference the work that you do. Here's an example from Gloucestershire Community Rail Partnership, who have developed a specific local, very friendly map of different places that you can access specifically around the Stonehouse Stroud area, local tourist destinations, businesses, and some simple walks in the area that can be easily followed using this downloadable map, which is also printed as a leaflet that you can access from stations and tourist destinations, etc., around the line as well. Similarly, down in the Rye, Ashford area, down sort of in the bottom Sussex-Kent border, South East Community Rail Partnership have developed a little business map of places from Winchelsea train station that you can access, local businesses, pubs, shops, and little tourist destinations, churches, etc., from the line. Again, really user-friendly, downloadable. Many of our members are now starting to use QR codes, so people can just take a quick snap of these and then access them on their phones later on as well. And then a bigger piece of work, this was funded through one of the grant programs that Community Rail Partnership are able to distribute to our members. The Tyne Valley Community Rail Partnership led on putting together a very detailed guide to accessing World Heritage Sites by rail, not just in their area, but around the UK. And that's available as a downloadable resource, both from their website and from some other destinations as well. So it's a great resource worth having a look at if you haven't seen it already yourself. And then, as well as just the promotional side of work, many of our members are actually active in starting to trial and test services of their own. The example I'll put up in front of you there is again from Gloucestershire Community Rail Partnership. They were able to access some of their funding both from ourselves but also through Cross Country, one of the train operating companies that serve the area, to pilot a minibus service that picked up from Camandursey Station and was visiting Slimbridge Wildfowl and Wetland Trust site, which is sort of on the Severn Estuary. So that was a service that ran not all year round, and I don't think it was every day either, but it was at certain sort of peak times, weekends, bank holidays, etc., school holidays, where the minibus was timetabled to connect with the train services and to ferry passengers between the destinations that was otherwise inaccessible by public transport because there's no other services in the area. But one of the other benefits, and one of the points I want to make, is that benefits for tourists often also benefit the local community, and feedback from this pilot was that actually the local community were able to make use of it in reverse, so we're able to get out of their villages and access rail services at weekends and bank holidays when otherwise they would have been isolated because there were no services serving their villages as well. So that was run as a pilot. It didn't wash its face as such in terms of bringing in income, but through extending the partnership now to Western Burt National Trust and Forestry Commission, that service has been replaced by a local what's called demand responsive transport service, the local Robin. Do Google that out of interest, and now anyone interested can now book that service to meet them from the train and take them to the destination, not just Slimbridge, but other destinations in the area as well. So the great case study there was the service was able to get up and running, show its worth, show the opportunity that it presented, and then were able to be sort of replaced by something more permanent, which is what I encourage our members to think about doing. Another great example up in sort of southeast Lancashire was something called the Rivington Bus. This started, I think it is sort of around about COVID time. Rivington Country Park is a large popular country park on the periphery of a lot of urban areas, and at weekends being absolutely packed. No room for parking, people not able to get in and stop and enjoy the locality. And similarly, anyone that didn't have a car was finding it difficult to access. So the Community Rail Partnership were able to get some seed funding through the funding pot that we managed, get the service up and running, publicise it for the first year, and then have an exit strategy thereafter. So in subsequent years, contributing to the ongoing publicity, with an end point being that very much hoping that the service might be subsumed into the B network in the longer term, so it becomes a sort of a publicly funded service that's going to go on and continue into the future as well. And that was a relatively easy fix, it turns out, because after some sort of digging around, they found out there was a bus that was stopping at its end destination and parked up for 20 minutes. And actually, to get the bus to run into the country park just required the extension of that service without and a little bit of a tweak of the timetable. And then the subsequent years worked out they could actually visit more than one station to pick up customers coming from 2 different directions as well. So again, that's been a great service and a great case study, and one if you dig a bit around on Google, you'll find a little bit more about as well if you're interested in the detail. Up into sort of Norfolk, Suffolk area now. One of our members, Great Yarmouth Station, I don't know if any of you know the area well, but has a bus stop, but no buses that serve that stop anymore, unfortunately. So the Community Rail Partnership worked with a local operator to run a sort of weekend and school holiday service. And then through a couple of years of experience, worked out that the number of passengers coming on rail and using the bus service was never going to be enough, again, to help the service wash its own face in terms of income. So they extended the service to start to pick up from some of the local holiday parks in the area. And now that bus service is pretty much funding itself. And now the Community Rail Partnership's just helping with the ongoing publicity of it. So yeah, a great case study. And again, a lesson learnt there in terms of what you might be able to do to promote services to rail users. There are other users in the area who can benefit from the service you're providing. And again, an unplanned benefit has been that the holiday park residents can now access rail, because not just going to the beach, which was the intention of the service to begin with, they can now access a rail service at a time otherwise they would have not been able to. And then finally, in terms of rail services, a great case study and point, and we're going to have a video explain a bit more about this approach in the near future on our website. But one of our members was interested in whether there was feasibility for a tourist bus service connecting stations in the Cam Valley area to 3 large tourist destinations, so Sheppreth Wildlife Park, Wimpole Estate and Duxford Air Museum as well. And so they were able to access funding through us to fund a feasibility study and to bring in an external consultant who put together a report highlighting the opportunities, what the challenges would have been, and ideally what a service could look like and how it could be funded. So if you're interested in having a look at that, do keep an eye on our website, because we have a video from the consultant and our member explaining a little bit more about that and presenting the final report, which I think you might find interesting. And then finally in this section, some of our members are also helping to promote any new services that are coming out in this area. So this example here is down in the Surrey Hills in Surrey, where the Community Rail Partnership in the area has been working with Surrey Council's new demand responsive transport service, Surrey Connect, which is particularly giving the opportunity to access areas in Leith Hill and the National Trust property, which has never been on the bus network as far as we're aware, and can now be accessed from the station by booking ahead on the demand responsive transport app, which allows you to ask the time for the bus to arrive and magic queue up to the top of Leith Hill to make the most of the views and maybe visit the National Trust property as well. So again, some great work, very simple from our members' point of view, just publicising something that's new, but really good for our partner to be able to tap into all the network that our members have in that area. An example here, this is up in the Peak District where one of our station groups, the Friend of Buxton Station, they've been very keen to try and put in some electric bikes available for hire from the station, but they've hit a few hurdles in terms of being given permission to do that from the station, and also to bring in the funding to make that something which is sort of self-sustaining. So they've actually partnered up with Visit Peak District in Derbyshire and one of the local bike shops in the area, which happens to already hire electric bikes out. And they ran a social media campaign last summer and the summer before, publicising the availability of the e-bikes and putting together a little itinerary shared via social media to inspire people to take a visit and take up that offer. And they were able to work with Peak Ascent Cycles, who have the electric bikes, to give a little discount for people who are arriving by rail, which is fantastic.
Gary, I think
Hello.
my slides have stopped sharing. Sorry, because it was really interesting.
No, that's all right. Where did we get to? I can try again.
Just about literally 30 seconds ago.
Okay. Have we got a 118 rail link come up yet, or?
I've not seen that, sorry. Has anyone else?
Okay. That's all right. I will attempt to share again, see what happens. I don't know what's changed at my end, so we'll try again. Apologies for the tech. I live in deepest, darkest Devon, and our internet is mildly unreliable sometimes. Well, either when it's raining or sunny, which is what it does most of the time. How we
that should be the next one, actually.
Okay, fabulous.
At the ones.
Let me make sure that's sharing, and we go again. All good, Nick?
That's great.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so just sort of coming to the end, I've got a video to show in a minute, although I probably haven't enabled the sound, so I'll have to share that again shortly. But down in my neck of the woods in Devon, there's you may have heard of the Oakhampton line. The Dartmoor line is being called, that's recently reopened as part of the Restoring Your Railways projects that were happening. GWR, the local train operating company, have been fantastic in really getting behind integrated transport. They have a specific member of staff who leads on it for GWR, a guy called Nick Reed. And one of their flagship projects has been what they call the bus rail links. So with the reopening of the rail line, redevelopment of Oakhampton Station, they've launched a number of new bus services that are linking with the station or bringing them in from lower down in the town, because the station's at the top of the hill, town's at the bottom. So extending services to better link with Oakhampton Station. So the 118 is a great example where they've rebranded the buses, which has livery on there, which includes sort of the network or the National Rail roundel, and publicises that the bus that people see links with rail and also can take you to other destinations. So the 118 specifically links with Tavistock and Lidford and Lidford Gorge, and is timetabled specifically to connect with rail journeys coming in from Exeter St David's as well. And Devon and Cornwall Community Rail Partnership have an excellent YouTube channel where they've got lots and lots of videos, and I'm going to have to reshare so that I can enable the sound this time, which I hadn't done then. But I just wanted to give you one little example of their video that they produced to promote the bus link from Oakhampton, which they launched at the same time as the railway reopened. So let's see if I can get this to work now.
Hi, I'm Charlie.
And I'm Aya. Come and explore the picturesque village of Lidford on the western fringe of Dartmoor, with its cosy pub, castle and famous Lidford Gorge.
To get there, hop on the Dartmoor line, departing hourly, to see how easy it is to explore this beautiful part of the world by train and onward bus. Arriving into Oakhampton, the 118 Rail Link bus calls right outside the station. These connect with trains every other hour.
When you get to Lidford, head to the Castle Inn. It's full of character, as well as serving top-notch locally sourced food.
So we've just done the Castle Inn, and now the castle.
Free to look around, the tower dates back to the 13th century and was actually used as a prison.
Now we're off to find a waterfall at Lidford Gorge. I think we found it!
Classed as a temperate rainforest, nearly every surface of the gorge is covered with plants, moss and lichen. It's a place that has attracted visitors since Victorian times. It's well worth following in their footsteps.
So, great example there of a video, and we're going to hear from Steve Booth in a minute, who's going to give you an example from down in Purbeck. But I just wanted to say, if any of that is of interest, an ongoing invitation, please do get in touch with me if you want some further details. And similarly, if you want to find out about members in your area, and then have a look on our website, you'll be able to look at our map of members and connect locally if you haven't already. So thanks so much. I'll stop sharing. And apologies for the tech problems there. Hopefully didn't get in the way too much, and I'll pass over to Steve.
Yeah, morning everyone. As I've been introduced, I'm Steve Booth and I'm the Community Rail Officer Purbeck. And for those of you who are not familiar with the area, I operate in southeast Dorset from Dorchester towards Poole and the Swanage Heritage Railway that runs down to Swanage from Norden, from Purbeck Park. So it's that part of the Dorset, really, southeast. And I'm involved with lots of projects, but in particular, I've been asked to talk about the bus service that we help support and maintain from Wareham Station to started with RSB and it's since expanded. So I'm going to do a presentation, hopefully, and then show you a video if time permits. So is that on, Garry? Good. So basically, RSB on is, as some of you may already know, is a nature reserve, quite a famous nature reserve in the area of Purbeck, which was recently on Spring Watch. And this is an area that's not that accessible. In fact, it's not accessible by public transport. You could cycle there. Walking is quite a long way to go. It's about 4 miles from Wareham Station, but there was no public service. So initially, what happened is RSB Arne got a Heritage Lottery grant and started the service from Wareham Station. It was just going to Arne at that stage. Now, this is something that started in 2022. So, it was something that well, it's in its fourth year now. So it was, it was started with June to September 2022. I'm just trying to. Has the slide moved on yet at all, Garry?
I see. No, it hasn't.
It has now.
It has now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, it started in 2022 from June to August. Now, I wasn't quite involved in that time, but that was when the RSB on had a specific officer that was funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund to get this initiative going. At that time, it carried 379 passengers during that period. Now, you can see there it was part of, to protect the Hyde Heaths area, which is an area of outstanding natural beauty in that part of Purbeck. So they're trying to reduce traffic going down that road to Arne. Now, in 2023, the Purbeck Community Rail Partnership got heavily involved. This is where I came in. And so, first of all, it was only running the 2 days in 2022. So in 2023, it ran 3 days. And you can see the difference there between the number of passengers. It was 19 passengers in 23, and in 22 it was 379. So there's a big difference there. Why did that happen? Well, it happened because we really got a lot more promotion, really, in terms of what we were doing. We got involved with lots of different partners to try and push the initiative. This was we put money into this that we got from South Western Railway Community Project funding, and we put our own money into it as well. And we wanted to be able to get much more promotion. There was leaflets, there was posters on different stations, And then we had a video that we put together in that year, which hopefully I can show you later. This was something that we put the funding in for. So we put most of our funding was to do with marketing, which was part of the video as well. Whereas RSB Arm lottery money was the operational cost to run the service, which was Dorset Community Transport. So what the video was about was joining up the transport, not just about the bus going to the different locations of RSB Arm and also Purbeck Park, which is another hub, which is a gateway to the Swanage Railway and to Swanage and Studland areas down on the coast there. But we were looking at other links like cycle hire, for example. So you could put together almost an itinerary of being able to come on the train to Wareham Station, get the bus to Arne or to Purbeck Park, hire a bike and go on to different destinations. You could have a whole day or even a weekend without using the car. Now, passenger data, I've already demonstrated the difference between the 2 years, which you can see there, hopefully. And this is something that we wanted to get to look at really what was happening here and where most people were getting on the bus. So it was Wareham Station, which is what we intended, but it wasn't just serving as a tourist destination. It helped bring local people in from outlying parishes, for example, at Arne or from Ridge or from Stowborough into Wareham. So there was a local interest as well. It wasn't just about tourists going out to see attractions. Now, in terms of the finance of the side of things, well, what you can see that there is operational costs, and that's something that was covered by the Heritage Lotteries grant initially, and then we took it on from there in 2024. 2024, we because of the amount of money, we didn't have as much money to put in that year. We had to run it for 2 days. It went back from 3 days to 2 days, and we carried 751, still substantially more than the 2 days that it was running in 2022. Now, passenger feedback was something that we needed to get to justify the funding. So we did a lot of surveys on the bus, and we got quite a lot of comments back, really quite positive comments, and a lot of people wanted it to run more. But obviously, it's subject to funding at the end of the day. We put a lot of effort in. We do a lot of other projects as well, but we put a lot of effort into this. The RSB Arne stepped back in 2024 because their funding was initially only for 2 years, and as I said, they had an officer specifically assigned to this who had to step back. So that left us really with less resource to actually take it forward. But we wanted the continuity, because like any service you put on, you need it to be able to be able to get known, create awareness, and people can start to then expect it, word of mouth promotion, and then it gets used a lot more. It takes time to build up. It takes even longer to get behavioural change with people, to get people out of the cars, coming in by train, and being able to utilise these services to these tourist destinations and other destinations along the route. So it was something that was going to take time, and it has built up over the years that we've been running it. But we're not able to run it as much as we would like. We did try and get a 4-day run this year, but what happened is we didn't get the CSIF grant, which is a customer community investment fund from Department of Transport. We weren't successful, so we had to get some other funding. In this case, it was a Dorset Community Transport. So we've not been able to run it as much as we would. These are more testimonials, again, about people who've used the bus. There's all sorts of different people use the bus. It's not all about old people. It's this families using it and younger people using it as well, because there's a lot of people that believe in sustainable transport. And the other thing as well is, like, certain people, like this particular picture is quite useful to demonstrate that a lot of older people, they haven't got access to cars. They don't necessarily always find it very easy to get out to a given destination. And there's almost a health and well-being element to this that gets them out. It's a social thing as well. So this year we wanted to expand it, and so we wanted to rename it. It was previously called 2RN, 2Arne, that's where that comes from. And this year we've badged it to Purbeck Shuttle 200 because it's now going to the Blue Pool, which is another nature reserve, another attraction within the Purbeck area. So it now goes to that destination, as well as Purbeck Park, which connects in with the Swanage Railway and Swanage. So we've got all these different connections and additional attraction now on the route to be able to to rebrand it and get it going as Purbeck Shuttle 200, and which we have, because that's where it's badged now. And there's the picture of the blue pool there, that's its new destination that it now serves. So that's where we are at the moment. It started running in May, the half term this year, and it's going to run till the end of August. And then where we go from there is the usual question. It'll be about funding going forward. But it has been going for 4 years. A lot of people thought that after the first year, we wouldn't really be able to continue it because of not being economically viable, but we have. So that's great, really. Right, okay. Gary, have I got time to run the video? I'll have to share again because I get the sound going. Have we got time for that?
I think we're good. If that's what we have.
Yeah, all good.
So right, I'll get the video up. And right, tell me if you can't hear the sound.
My name's Chantal, and my sister Shazne and I are travelling on the train down to Purbeck on the Dorset coast to spend a couple of days finding out what the area has to offer. It's just under 2.5 hours from London Waterloo to Wareham Station.
When planning a trip to Purbeck, a good place to start is Purbeck Heath's website and their car-free leaflet, which includes plenty of suggestions of things to do and how to get around the area without a car.
We've just got off the train from London Waterloo. We're now waiting for the shuttle bus to come, which will take us to the beautiful Arne Nature Reserve.
The bus ride takes about 20 minutes and travels through the gorgeous Purbeck Heaths, a national nature reserve that's managed to have a positive impact on the natural environment. It can be caught just outside Wareham Station and runs on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Sundays.
Our nature reserve is located in Poole Harbour and is incredibly beautiful with some amazing views. Guides here told us about some of the wildlife we might see, including any of the 6 reptiles native to the UK. You can often see lizards basking in the sun at the beach.
We just had the most amazing walk through the nature reserve.
The views were absolutely beautiful. The volunteer was definitely right about seeing Poole Harbour. Wow.
We've just allowed enough time before heading back to the shuttle bus to grab some coffee and cake.
Oh, sounds brilliant. Let's go.
Other wildlife you can see here include smooth snakes, oyster catchers, Dartford warblers and glowworms.
The food in the cafe here is all organic, locally sourced and sustainable.
From Arne, the shuttle bus goes to Purbeck Park, where we're going to look around the mining museum and pay a visit to the Swanage Steam Railway. The clay mining industry provided a lot of employment in the area in the 18th century. The Mining Museum exists to preserve everything about the industry and was created almost entirely by volunteers. Purbeck Park is also home to the cycle experience, where we hired bikes. I was able to get an electric bike. Swanage Steam Railway is run by a trust and covers 11 miles of line between Wareham and Swanage. So from Wareham Station you can get the train into Swanage. We're not going to do that today, and we're going to go off on our bikes to find somewhere to stay. About half a mile from Purbeck Park is Northern Farm Campsite and Farm Shop, which is great to look around, has plenty of fab looking food. If we'd our camping gear, we could have stayed here. But we've opted for Purbeck Campsite, which has some fantastic lodges, each with a veranda, barbecue and hot tub. Luxury. Day 2, and after a relaxing stay, we take a walk to Knoll Beach in the picturesque Studland Bay. Here they have a National Trust shop and cafe, and you can also hire kayaks, paddleboards and pedlos. We went for a pedalo. It's such a beautiful beach here. Although the food in the cafe looked really good, we decided just to get a drink and instead visit a pub someone had told us about for lunch. To get there, we decided to use the barrel bikes. These bikes are pay-as-you-go bikes that you can rent using an app on your phone and are great fun to use. Banks Arms, which also does bed and breakfast, dates back to the 16th century, has plenty of local beers and has amazing views over Studland Bay, which you can experience when you can sit out in the garden. The food here was excellent.
So we've just had our last meal here at the beautiful Banks Arms, and everything is just beautiful here, beautiful views, beautiful food. And we're about to take the bikes down to the chain ferry, where we're going to catch the train at Bournemouth train station and go back to London Waterloo. And what a great couple of days it's been.
From the other side, it's a short cycle to Bournemouth station, where we can leave the barrel bikes and jump on the train home. It's been a fantastic couple of days in Purbeck, and we look forward to coming back.
Right, okay, that's that.
Thanks, Steve, and thanks, Garry, for sharing all those different initiatives. So yeah, over to you guys if you've got any questions for either me, Garry, or Steve. Over to you.